Entamoeba histolytica. Entamoeba histolytica. First of all, let us see the systematic position of Entamoeba histolytica. Systematic position of Entamoeba histolytica. Systematic position of Entamoeba histolytica will go, then after we'll enter into the chapter. Okay, so it belongs to the phylum Protozoa. According to five kingdom classification, it can be called kingdom Protista. Okay, so here phylum Protozoa. Unicellular organisms are placed in the phylum Protozoa. Subphylum Sarcomastigophora. Sarcomastigophora. Subphylum Sarcomastigophora. Phylum Protozoa. Subphylum Sarcomastigophora. Class. Class it belongs to is Rhizopoda. Class Rhizopoda. Phylum Protozoa. Subphylum Sarcomastigophora. Class Rhizopoda. Next, order. Order Lobosa. Order Lobosa. Family Entamoebidae. Family Entamoeba histolytica belongs to is Entamoebidae. Genus. Genus itself we are talking about Entamoeba. Entamoeba. And species of Entamoeba which we are discussing, that is histolytica. Entamoeba gingivalis, Entamoeba coli are the different other Entamoeba species, but we are discussing about Entamoeba histolytica here. Okay, life cycle of Entamoeba histolytica we'll go with. And before we go, let me say the importance of this parasite. That the Sri Krishna Devaraya, the most famous Telugu king, and Mughal emperor Akbar, these two are the people who died because of this parasite. This tiny parasite, unicellular parasite, killed that two famous people, which caused the disease called amoebic dysentery. Amoebic dysentery. We used to say that amoebic dysentery is the disease which killed the people, the Sri Krishna Devaraya, the Telugu king, and the Mughal emperor Akbar even killed because of this tiny parasite. Okay, then Entamoeba histolytica. In that, entos. In Entamoeba histolytica, entos. Entos means within. Entos means within. Okay, then entos means within. Amoebae. We know that the word amoebae. The word amoeba means change. We know amoeba also, that also changes. Okay. Histos means tissues. Histos means tissues. Lysis, dissolve, distract, we can say. Lysis means dissolve or distract. This parasite, when it live in the human being, that release an enzyme called histolysin, that which can dissolve the distract the enzyme, that the blood capillaries and mucosa of human being. In that way, it was said to be as histolytica, histolysin, tissues dissolving. So moving on to the chapter, before we move, let me say once again the systematic position. Phylum Protozoa, subphylum Sarcomastigophora, class Rhizopodia, order Lobosa, family Entamoebidae, genus Entamoeba, species Histolytica. Okay, then in the Entamoeba, entos means within, amoebae, change, histos, tissues, lysis, dissolve. Then release an enzyme called histolysin, which makes dissolves the tissues of blood capillaries and mucous tissues of human being. Okay, so features of the parasite, we'll go fast. It's a monogenetic parasite. Entamoeba histolytica is a monogenetic parasite. What is the meaning of monogenetic? The parasite complete the life cycle in single host. Hence we say monogenetic parasite. This parasite completes the life cycle in single host. Hence we call monogenetic parasite. Only one host is present for this parasite. That to be remembered over. It's a monogenetic parasite. Next. The Entamoeba histolytica is monogenetic parasite. Entamoeba histolytica is called enterozoic parasite. Can you say why? Enterozoic parasite. The parasite live in the intestine, particularly in the submucosa of large intestine. If any parasite live in the intestine, we use it to say in that enterozoic, this parasite is living in the submucosa, the wall of alimentary canal. Submucosa of large intestine, it is living. Hence, we say that enterozoic parasite, being unicellular nature, it is microscopic. Parasite is microscopic. You can't see with naked eye. Monogenetic parasite. It inhabits in the large intestine. That's why we called it as enterozoic parasite. And the mode of transmission of the parasite is contamination. That we'll understand when we go to the life cycle. The contaminated food and water makes this parasite to spread. Okay. And we have some mechanical vectors for this parasite. Mechanical vector that's spreading the parasite. No life cycle occurs in them, but at least they provide some transport in mechanical way, like house flies and cockroaches are going to be called as mechanical vectors for this particular parasite. Okay, so that means the contaminated food and water, the housefly which falls and down on the contaminated food, this particular parasite is going to be uh, housefly and cockroaches are going to spread this parasite from that in non-hygienic conditions. Wherever the hygienic conditions are poor, wherever more houseflies and cockroaches are there, they spread this particular parasite. Okay, next, some other features will go. This is cosmopolitan in distribution. The parasite is cosmopolitan in distribution. Worldwide distribution, we use it to say as a cosmopolitan distribution, but more common in tropical and subtropical regions of the world. Though it is cosmopolitan, it is more common in the tropical and subtropical regions of the world. Tropics and subtropical region. Okay, subtropical regions of the world, the parasite lives, but we say it is cosmopolitan in distribution. Okay. Then it is common in people of rural and densely populated urban areas wherever the hygienic conditions are poor. Or I can add one more sentence. It is common in people who use it to take roadside food, exceptionally that the pani puri, isn't it? That those pani puri eaters, that they don't know what from where that water will come. So definitely we can expect amoebic dysentery in them. Then the structure, let's go with the structure here. Let me, before we go to the structure of the parasite, let me say once again, parasite live in a single host. We call it as monogenetic parasite. Parasite live in the alimentary canal, enterozoic parasite. For distribution, we use it to say the cosmopolitan in distribution, but more common in tropics and subtropical regions of the world. Then the parasite spread through contamination, and the mechanical vector housefly and cockroaches also play their role in this particular the parasitic distribution. We have three stages in the parasite: trophozoite stage, pre-cystic stage, and cystic stage. The trophozoite stage, the parasite is having three stages. Trophozoite stage, tropho, the word you have to remember for future also. Tropho means food. Food eating stage is always called trophozoite, in not only in this parasite, in any protozoan parasite, in any unicellular parasite. Tropho, the word it is given, the stage is called as trophozoite. We can say that is a eating stage. That means you should understand parasitic all stages are not feeding stages. Only in some certain stages they are going to feed. That's why that particular all stages can be mentioned as trophozoite stages. Okay, so here we'll discuss about the trophozoite stage now. Trophozoite stage. First of all, we'll go with the trophozoite stage. The pre-cystic stage and cystic stage will come along with. So let me go with the structure of trophozoite stage now. The structure of trophozoite, the feeding stage. We use it to say it as a feeding stage. Okay, trophozoite or feeding stage. So the Entamoeba histolytica, as I already said to you, the Entamoeba histolytica is a unicellular organism, single-celled organism. Okay, the body is covered by that plasma lemma. We use it to say it as body is covered by plasma lemma, and it has single pseudopodium. So let me show you the single pseudopodium. If any organism is having single pseudopodium, what do you call it as? Did you remember? Organism is single pseudopodium.
Monopodial.
Very good. Monopodial. We use it to say it as monopodial. So the pseudopodia of Entamoeba histolytica is monopodial. We can say single pseudopodia. It contains single pseudopodia. Okay. So we learned there as an example of monopodial condition. We can say example Entamoeba histolytica. Polypodial is amoeba. Okay. And what type of pseudopodia it is? Blunt finger-like pseudopodia. Hence we call lobopodia. Blunt finger-like pseudopodia it has. That's why we say lobopodia. Then let me go with the remaining issues here. That body is covered by plasma lemma. The body of these particular organisms is covered by plasma lemma. And the cytoplasm is divided up of outer ectoplasm, inner endoplasm. Cytoplasm is divided up of outer ectoplasm and inner endoplasm. Let me write here ectoplasm and inner endoplasm. Inner endoplasm, outer ectoplasm, inner endoplasm. Okay, so in the trophozoite stage, we said the parasite body is covered by the plasmalemma. Cytoplasm is divided up of outer ectoplasm, outer clear, viscous, non-granular ectoplasm, inner fluid-like granular endoplasm. That means the ectoplasm is clear, viscous, non-granular. The properties of ectoplasm. It is clear, viscous, and non-granular. Non-granular ectoplasm, clear, viscous, and non-granular. Okay, so that to be remembered. What about endoplasm? Endoplasm. Endoplasm,
Fluid mix.
yeah, very good. Endoplasm is fluid-like. Endoplasm is fluid-like, granular, fluid-like and granular. Okay, so I am adjusting. Wait. Yes. So learn about the ectoplasm and endoplasm and a single blunt finger-like pseudopodium, which we called it as lobopodium. The produced in the advancing end, you can see here in the produced in the advancing end, a single pseudopodium. Single it is, that's why we call monopodial. Excuse me. It's a blunt finger-like, that's why we called it as lobopodium. Okay. Next, talking about the remaining cytoorganelles. Cytoorganelles means that we usually say about mitochondria, isn't it? Mitochondria. Mitochondria is absent. Endoplasmic reticulum, absent. The Golgi complex is absent. So very, very important to be remembered here that mitochondria is absent. Why? What to be remembered? Generally, mitochondria is helpful for aerobic respiration, isn't it? So due to the absence of mitochondria, we can say in these organisms that aerobic respiration is absent. Only this parasite is going to perform anaerobic respiration. That means it cannot utilize oxygen. That is very important to be remembered. That in this organism, by the absence of mitochondria, no aerobic respiration. In this organism, no aerobic respiration. That is very important in this case. Okay. Along with that, Golgi apparatus is absent. Golgi complex is absent. And endoplasmic reticulum is also absent. Golgi complex, endoplasmic reticulum, mitochondria are absent. And contractile vacuoles, which is a unique feature of protozoans. Being a parasite, the contractile vacuole, which are helpful for osmoregulation in the freshwater and marine water protozoans, that we used to discuss this about contractile vacuole. The freshwater protozoans are having contractile vacuole, and marine water protozoans and parasitic protozoans don't have contractile vacuole. So now I am here. This is a parasitic protozoan. The contractile vacuole, which usually maintain the osmoregulation, water control, is absent. So these are the issues which are absent. I said mitochondria is absent, Golgi apparatus is absent, and contractile vacuoles are absent. Then what is present then? A nucleus, which is unique. The nucleus of Entamoeba is unique. The nucleus of Entamoeba is called cartwheel nucleus. We have to see why it is called cartwheel nucleus. Generally, what is present in the nucleus? You might have learned over the cell biology. What is there in the nucleus? Nucleus means we use it to say chromatin material present, chromosomes. And nucleus means we use it to say endosome is present. Nucleolus, we use it to say. Nucleolus and chromatin material. This is the general arrangement. But in our Entamoeba histolytica, the nucleolus, which is called as endosome, is arranged in the center. And chromatin beads, chromatin material, is arranged in the form of chromatin beads at periphery. At peripheral side, they get arranged like this. The fine filaments of that nucleus in the nucleus, they are going to connect this. So how it appear like? Finally, the nucleus of Entamoeba appear like cartwheel. Why it is called cartwheel nucleus? That we have to say. That why the nucleus of Entamoeba is called cartwheel shaped, because we need to say that the nucleolus or endosome is arranged in the center and chromatin material is arranged in the periphery, the connected by the fine filaments, and it appears like the cartwheel. Okay, now the remaining other we are talking about, that food vacuoles are present here. The food vacuole, these food vacuole contain RBC, human RBC, because it eats human RBC. That's why the food vacuole contain human RBC. Food vacuoles are present. Let me label. This is food vacuole and this is cartwheel nucleus. So let me label. This is food vacuole. The food vacuole contain mucus and RBC because it eats. When it lives in the human being, it eats that human RBC. So that cartwheel nucleus, food vacuole. Okay, so let me take a look from the beginning. The trophozoite stage, it is the most active, motile, and feeding stage, we said, and it is also called pathogenic stage. Why the trophozoite is called the motile? It is having pseudopodia. Feeding, we said, this is the only feeding stage, and pathogenic stage. What is pathogenic stage? Disease causing stage. This is the stage which cause the disease. Motile, feeding, pathogenic stage. Here we missed N. So motile, feeding, pathogenic stage to be remembered. Let me adjust with N. Okay. Next, where it lives. Now that's a question. Where it lives. The parasite lives in the mucosa and submucosa of large intestine. Just for your understanding, I am showing the large intestine layers. Outermost layer is called serosa. Then after, some muscle layers can be expected over longitudinal and circular muscles can be expected. And then after, the submucosa layer is seen over. Submucosa layer. And the innermost layer, we say mucosa. This is the basic structure of intestine, whether it is small intestine or large intestine, basic structure we are talking. So where our trophozoite stages are living, trophozoite stages are living in the mucosa and submucosa of large intestine itself. Here our blood vessels and blood capillaries are also present. That's this trophozoite stage release the enzyme histolysin, ruptures the blood vessel, eats the RBC. That's why in the food vacuoles of trophozoite stage is containing RBC. Okay. Next, how it moves? It moves with the help of single pseudopodium. That we said it is a blunt finger-like, hence called lubopodia. It is single, hence we call it as monopodial parasite. And the body of trophozoite is surrounded by plasma lemma. Body of trophozoite surrounded by plasma lemma. Cytoplasm differentiated into outer clear viscous non-granular ectoplasm and the inner fluid-like granular endoplasm. Next, here the ribosomes, food vacuoles. Ribosomes are present and food vacuoles are present. Let me show you the ribosomes also. Some ribosomes I am drawing. So ribosomes are present, food vacuoles are present, and contractile vacuoles containing human RBC are also present here. Then the Golgi apparatus, endoplasmic reticulum, contractile vacuole, mitochondria are absent. By the absence of mitochondria, what we can say that it cannot perform aerobic respiration. The oxygen respiration with oxygen, we say aerobic respiration. So it cannot perform. Hence, we called it as obligatory anaerobe. Obligation means compulsory. Compulsory, it perform respiration. Generally, intestinal parasite oxygen availability is low. So that's why if oxygen available, they go for aerobic. If not available, anaerobic. But our Entamoeba is not like that. Mitochondria is absent totally. So that's why we can say by the absence of mitochondria, the trophozoite of Entamoeba histolytica is having obligate anaerobic nature. Okay, that is very important point to be remembered. And it produces a histolytic enzyme, that proteolytic enzyme, which can digest the proteins. It produces a proteolytic enzyme. What do you call the enzyme as? What is the enzyme produced by Entamoeba histolytica trophozoite stage, which ruptures the blood vessels and blood capillaries of human being?
Histolytic enzyme.
Very good. Histolysin, we say. Histolysin enzyme or histolytic enzyme. That's why the parasite is called histolytica, isn't it? That name, species name is histolytica because of release of this enzyme. Due to the effect of this enzyme, the mucosa and submucosa of the gut wall are dissolved, releasing some amount of blood also. In the large intestine, they release, they dissolve our blood vessels and blood capillaries are getting dissolved, and that makes the release of blood and mucus also getting distracted over. So some amount of blood, tissue, debris means waste. That means ruptured tissues. Okay. So the all that particular release into the lumen of large intestine. Okay, so that's why you can see here the symptom of this particular parasite when we discuss that through the fecal matter. This is large intestine, and you have to remember this is lumen. Throughout the chapter, you should remember we have to talk about wall and lumen. The wall of large intestine. Lumen means cavity of large intestine. So the ruptured RBC and mucus materials are released into the lumen, followed by they will be released out through the fecal matter. And here also, there are so many words they use. Fecal matter, you have to say. Stools, we have to say. So in the human fecal matter, in the human stool, we will find the RBC, ruptured RBC, mucus, that all will find over. That is one of the greatest symptom to recognize that person is affected with Entamoeba histolytica and suffering with amoebic dysentery. Okay. So presence of RBC in food vacuole, cartwheel shaped nucleus, we can say By looking towards them, we can say that is trophozoite stage of Entamoeba histolytica. And in the stool, in the fecal matter, ruptured RBC, blood, mucus in the fecal matter that contain ruptured RBC and mucus and some trophozoite stages of Entamoeba shows that that person is getting affected with amoebic dysentery. Okay, so discussed about the trophozoite stage. Moving on with pre-cystic stage. Pre-cystic stage. Just we'll discuss about these stages today. Tomorrow we'll discuss the life cycle. Now let me show you the properties of pre-cystic stage. Should read it as pre-cystic stage. That means a stage before the cyst formation, we can say. Pre-cystic stage means a stage before the formation of cyst. Okay. Here also the body is covered by plasmalemma, we use it to say. The body is covered by plasmalemma and cytoplasm divide up of outer ectoplasm and endoplasm, and our said the cartwheel nucleus is present. That means nucleolus or endosome in the center, and the chromatin beads are arranged at the periphery, and the fine filaments are going to connect them. That appearance look like the cartwheel nucleus are present here. Cartwheel nucleus. What is additional here? Soon this particular stage is going to become the form a cystic layer. So that's why they need some reserve food material. The reserve food materials are essential here. So that we have to talk about. The reserve food materials present in this pre-cystic stage are chromatoid bars, and also some glycogen particles are present. Chromatoid bars are there, and glycogen particles are also present here. So let me label them. Chromatoid bars and glycogen particles are new to recognize them as that recognition of this particular chromatoid bars and reserve food material. Chromatoid bars are the ribonucleoprotein particles, and the glycogen granules are present here. These glycogen granules and chromatoid bars that are the unique feature of pre-cystic stage, which we can recognize. And properties, let's talk about the properties. It is a non-feeding stage. It's a non-feeding stage. Pre-cystic stage is a non-feeding stage. Non-pathogenic stage. Pathogenicity. Pathogenic. The word you have to remember it as disease causing. So what I said, non-pathogenic. That means it is not the disease causing stage. Okay. So then where you see this? You can see this in the lumen of the large intestine. The trophozoite stages, we said they are going to be in the wall of large intestine, and our pre-cystic stages are going to be in the lumen of large intestine. Let me show you the lumen of large intestine. The cavity, we can say. So there our said pre-cystic stages are going to present. These pre-cystic stages. How do we recognize them? They have reserve food material. Chromatoid bars are present. Glycogen granules are present. Okay. Then it's a small, spherical or oval. The features, it is a small form than the spores, the trophozoite. It is in spherical shape. The small or oval, I drawn in the same manner. You see, just observe the diagram. Spherical or oval. And it is a non-motile form. What is meant by non-motile? Non-motile.
Not movable.
Yeah, not movable. So what is absent here then?
Pseudopodia.
Very good.
Flagella.
Pseudopodia. No, no. Here these are having only pseudopodia, no flagella. Pseudopodia are absent. Non-motile form, we say pseudopodia is absent. Okay. So that is the properties, and the very important thing that to be remembered, that chromatoid bars and glycogen granules are present. The chromatoid bars, which are made of ribonucleoprotein particles, these are, and which they act as a reserve food. They act as a reserve food because the stage immediately goes to the cystic layer they form. After that, they don't feed. That now even also they are not feeding. That cystic stage is a non-feeding stage. So that's why they started collecting the food material, chromatide bars and glycogen granules. Okay, so that is about the pre-cystic stage. Okay, next, moving on to the cystic stage. Let me introduce the cystic stage also. Cystic stage. What is cystic stage? The stage which form the cystic layer surround the body, we can say cystic stage. So how it look like? It is round in shape. The cystic stage is round in shape. Okay, so I just tried over. Let me try once again. Far better, I think so. Okay, it is round in shape. So let's write the properties. The cystic stage is round in shape. It's there in the name. We called it as cystic stage, isn't it? It's round in shape. Next, surrounded by a thin, the particular stage surrounded by cystic, we said. That's why we have to talk about the cyst. A thin, delicate, a thin, delicate and highly resistant cyst wall. It is surrounded by delicate and highly resistant cyst wall. So that's what we call it as cystic stage. Let me draw that cystic layers around this highly the resistant cyst wall. So this is the cystic layer. Okay, so that's what we call. That's why we call it is the cystic stage. Where do you found this? It is found in the lumen of small intestine. Found in the lumen of small intestine. Lumen, wall. Should find out the need to find out the difference. Lumen of,
Sir, they gave large intestine.
well, okay. Sorry. My mistake. Large intestine. Found in the lumen of large intestine. Okay, so parasite found in the lumen of large intestine. Undoubtedly large intestine. The process of development of the cystic wall. The process of development of cystic wall by the organism is called encystation. Encystation. I'm writing separately. This is very important to remember. What is encystation? The process of development of cystic wall is called as encystation. Why encystation? Generally, protozoans undergo encystation to tide over to tolerate the unfavorable condition. What is unfavorable condition to this parasite? That means, as I said to you, it is there in the lumen of large intestine, these cystic stages, they have to go out into the atmosphere along with the fecal matter. And after the story, through the contaminated food and water should go into another human being. But till they go into the another human being, they should survive extreme conditions of outside, isn't it? So that's why they form a cystic layer surround the body. So simply you just understand it wears sweater to reach from one human to other human being, not to write in examination. Should write cystic layer. Okay. So the process of development of the cyst wall we call encystation, and it means to tide over unfavorable condition the parasite is going to encounter while passing to a new host that form the cystic layer. Soon after the formation of cystic layer, after the encystation, the nucleus undergoes and form that whatever the nucleus, we said the cartwheel nucleus earlier, that nucleus undergo the division of nucleus occurs and it form four daughter nuclei. Four daughter nuclei. Can you name this now? They're having four daughter nuclei. Okay, we'll go with series of events that when this particular cystic stage is having one nuclei inside, two nuclei inside. So if one nuclei present inside, I just name it as uninucleate cystic stage. Okay, and if there are two nuclei are present, what you may call it as? You might call it as binucleate cystic stage. Now you just name this parasite with 4 nuclei.
Tetra.
Very good.
Heteronucleate.
Yeah, you should call it as tetranucleate. Okay, so we already said it has cystic stage. That cystic stage which contain 4 nuclei can be termed as tetranucleate cystic stage. That can be termed as tetranucleate cystic stage. Okay, so where it is, where the tetranucleate cystic stage is present? In the lumen of,
Cystic stage.
in the lumen of large intestine. Where it is going, where it is going? From the lumen of large intestine, this parasite is going out through the human fecal matter. It is going to be released out to the particular along with the fecal matter, and then after it goes to the another human being. So that's why in this stage it is going to the another human being. Which stage? Tetranucleate cystic stage. That's why the tetranucleate cystic stage is called infective stage. Okay, so infective stage. What is infective stage? The stage which a parasite, in which stage the parasite is moving, based on that we use it to say infective stage. So who is the infective stage to this particular parasite? In which stage it is reaching to the another human being? That's what I am asking. In the tetranucleate cystic stage only, it is reaching to the another human being. That's why it is called infective stage. You might have confused, or we are in the first parasite, but all these words will come later also. We used a word called pathogenic stage. What is meant by pathogenic stage?
Disease
Causing
cause.
disease.
Yeah, in the stage which the parasite cause the disease, we call pathogenic stage. Okay, now we have a new word again, infective stage. What is infective stage? In which the stage the parasite enters one host to the other host, we can say infective stage. I said through contaminated food and water it spread from one human to other human being. In which stage, which stages will come to another human being through pani puri?
Infective stage.
Yeah,
Infective stage.
Infective stage.
which stage that is? Which, who is the infective stage?
Tetranucleate cystic stage.
That's it. That's it. That's it. Okay. So, okay, please excuse me, those pani puri eaters. I use this word till along the length here. I didn't find more than pani puri, the more contaminated food outside. Street food, the highest quality contaminated. Quality, what I mean? Quality tetranucleate cystic stages you'll find there. So that's why I use this word again and again. You have to excuse me, those who are eating pani puri. While eating pani puri this time, definitely you'll find the tetranucleate cystic stages will come in mind. Okay, so be careful. Okay, let me close this area. That tomorrow we'll discuss the life cycle. The feeding stage. We have 3 stages now: trophozoite stage, pre-cystic stage, and cystic stage. So let me ask the questions. Location. What is the location of trophozoite stage?
Wall and the
In the
lumen of
large
the large
intestine.
intestine.
And
Present in the
submucosa of
wall of
large
large
intestine.
intestine. Then location of pre-cystic and tetranucleate cystic stages.
Lumen of the
Domain
large
of large
intestine.
intestine.
Very good. Lumen of large intestine. Okay. Then pathogenic stage among the 3.
Trophozoite
Trophozoite
stage.
stage.
Trophozoite.
Non-pathogenic stages.
Pre-cystic
Cystic
stage.
stage. And
Yeah, both are. Infective stage among the 3.
Cystic
Cystic
stage.
stage.
Cystic stage. Particularly, we say tetranucleate cystic stage. The stage which contains pseudopodia.
Trophozoitic stage.
Trophozoite
Very good.
stage.
The stages which do not have pseudopodia.
pre-cystic
stage.
and
Cystic
cystic
stage
stage.
and cystic.
Yeah, very good. Can you give the reason why food vacuoles are absent in the pre-cystic and cystic stages? Food vacuoles are absent. Did you observe that? Did you notice it that? Only trophozoite is having food vacuole. Because it is feeding stage. It releases the histolysine, it ruptures the blood vessel, and eats the human RBC. Then why these people are not having food vacuole? Because they don't eat. Yeah, we said they are non-feeding stages.
Non-feeding.
Pre-cystic stage followed by cystic stage are non-feeding stages. What do they have then? They have the reserve food material, which we said now, the chromatoid bodies. The reserve food materials are the chromatoid bodies, and glycogen granules are present here. Then glycogen granules and chromatoid bodies. Here cartwheel is as usual. Let me draw the cartwheel also. The cartwheel nucleus is as usual among all these. The cartwheel nucleus is present here also. So just adjusting here. But what is the difference between the trophozoite with the precystic and cystic stages? Trophozoite is feeding stage. That's why they release esterlysin, they have food vacuole, and food vacuole contain RBC. Now the precystic stage and cystic stage don't have food vacuole. They have what they have? They have chromatoid bars and glycogen granules for what? For the storage of food materials. Okay. Then non-motile stages.
Pre-cystic and cystic.
Yeah. Stages without pseudopodia.
Pre-cystic and
Pre-cystic and
pre-cystic and
cystic.
cystic stages.
Yeah. Stages which with pseudopodia.
Trophozoite stage.
Stages who live in the wall of large intestine.
Trophozoite.
Trophozoite
Yes,
stage.
very good. The stages who live in the wall of large intestine are trophozoite stages. They live there, they do damage there by releasing histolysin. And stages who live in the lumen of large intestine.
Pre-cystic
Pre-cystic
and
and
cystic
Yeah.
stages.
We'll link up all this in the life cycle tomorrow. That pre-cystic and cystic stages are going to live in the lumen of large intestine. Lumen means cavity. Wall means wall itself, that a wall of alimentary canal. Then lumen means cavity. Here actually our food will pass. Now our new guest, that parasite means guest itself, isn't it? That harmful gift, guest. So that cystic stages, pre-cystic stage and cystic stages are going to live. So this is the story of trophozoite, pre-cystic stage, and the cystic stages.